you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just start. I'm not going to screw around with the starting soon, and maybe I will promote it a few places. Because, you know, new people coming in would be great. Mobile dashboard. Yeah, I wish there was a better way to share from here. If there is and I don't know of it, please tell me. Wonder if the alert went up correctly. But I'll give a few minutes for some people to show up. Today I'm going to do some sloppy joe with this ground chicken. I got this, I don't know, probably a month ago when I was still getting stuff from the food pantry. And it was starting to get freezer burned. So this seemed like a real good way to use it, is some homemade sloppy joes, which I've never done with chicken before, but I am confident I can zhuzh this up and make it delicious without too much problem. Especially because I'm going to also work on stuffing this pumpkin today that I've talked about before. There's a few different recipes online. My friend Ray, who used to do Geek Rules with me, turned me on to it. It's like pumpkin stuff with everything good. I'm trying to remember where exactly. Like a whole bunch of different sites call the recipe exactly that. But I'm pretty close to like what one of them is as far as what I'm using. I'm going with fresh thyme and some chives. And I'm going to use half and half instead of heavy cream, but I've got like some leftover odds and ends of rolls that I'm going to be cutting up for the bread, using up leftovers. Make sure everything's going here. Ad starts in 3 minutes. Okay. There goes some music. And my bot is just letting people know. Yay. I'm going to use my homemade bacon. Twice. I'm going to use it for... I put these herbs here because they look really cool, right? I'm going to use the bacon to stuff the pumpkin, but I'm going to keep the drippings after I do that to zhuzh up this ground chicken in some sloppy joes. So, I mean, still healthier than full-on, fatty ground beef, I guess, but it should give the umami it needs. I'd have to add a bunch of oil anyway. It's ground chicken. So, yay. I don't know if that clip worked. Trying to make clips so that I can make an intro video. Most of the time, good witch. Got ads starting in 1:52, so I'm going to fart around and get started with browning up the bacon. Move this there. Rendering it out. Whoops, scissors. And I just took this out of the freezer like not that long ago. This is my little carbonara packets that if you watched the episode where I butchered up the bacon and finished it, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. The lav mic. I got a new lav mic. It seems to be working. I'm excited. Okay, let's move the chicken out of the way so we're not contaminating anything. Kidding. Hey, I love you. My onion grass living in North Carolina. That it's like freezing cold, and chives decided to just pop up in my lawn. I don't know why anyone grows chives here. They're not different enough from the naturalized chives that are all over the place. They just pop up in my yard occasionally. Oh, I got this fortune the other day. I thought this was kind of great, so I put it over here by the cooking stream setup. Express love in the language that brings joy to your soul. Kind of what I'm doing here. Okay, this one. While the ads are going, get this rendering. I got a brand new nonstick pan today. My other ones are really, really ruined. I've talked to my son about please not ruining this one. These are nice big hunks of bacon. But this is the first use of it. Get some veggies cut. Ad break ends in 33 seconds. I'm going to use all of this onion. Only some of the pepper. Definitely more pepper than that. Hi. Okay, so I'm cutting up this red pepper. Red pepper is one of the primary ingredients in my sloppy joe. It's one of those things you don't really realize it's there, and how important it is until you make it homemade and forget it, which has happened. As a matter of fact, my family cookbook version of the recipe, I forgot to put it in there. Oops. So I had to write it in everyone's that I printed out and then added to the digital copy later. Like, don't forget to put red bell pepper in this. And if you think about it, if you buy a can of Manwich, right? It is a very, very important part of a sloppy joe mix, at least in my book. And I see people do green pepper. That's a whole different flavor profile I'm not really that interested in for my sloppy joe. But you do you. So red pepper, onion. I'm going to do like this 2/3 of an onion-ish that I have left over from other stuff. Sloppy joe is a decent clean out the fridge, at least because it's stuff that I commonly have left over in the fridge. Because we're doing nachos for dinner tonight. I actually was going to get a 3-pack of peppers because I had a coupon to get a free 3-pack of multicolor peppers. And I went to the store and they didn't actually have any of those 3-packs. So I ended up buying one stupid pepper because I was already kind of set on making sloppy joes with you folks. With this chicken before it's ruined from freezer burn. And I like red peppers on my nachos as well. Bacon starting to sizzle. I'm just get all these veggies cut up. I'm not using my forged in fire big knife today. I think my son put it somewhere weird. So I'm using this one. My dad, this came in a bunch of knives, other knives my dad sent me. I don't remember if he sent it at the same time as the Forged in Fire ones, but it's like one of those commercial, like, white plastic handle knives. What's the brand? Tramontina. Stainless steel from Brazil. It's keeps an edge, like, better than these fancy forged knives. I hardly ever have to sharpen these. And he sent me this one and, like, a thinner one. Like, not a chef knife style, like kind of a meat cutting. I don't know. I guess it'd technically be what that one's for. Okay. Stir up our rendering bacon. I don't have a slotted spoon. This is my fancy new non-stick. I got at TJ Maxx. That was very pretty. I tried not to judge on that, but I can't help myself to an extent. This handle looks like it's wood, but it's not. It's Bakelite. They had several different ones. This is an 11-inch. They had 12 inches, and it didn't seem like more bottom surface area for the 12 inches, but it did have a more slopey side. And I almost went with that because, I don't know if you can tell, this has a very mostly straight side. It's got a little curve. Where can you see this best? Little curve. Instead of flaring out at the edge. And I don't use non-stick pans a lot. I'm going ahead and using non-stick in this one for this today to try out the new pan, mostly. And because it does have some sugar in it and some acid in the recipe. And so I won't have to, like, re-season my cast iron if I used that. But mostly just to try it out. And I thought, well, maybe I'll get the one with the slopey edge in case I make crepes or something. But I don't want to have to rely on that either. I think I can do that kind of thing without... Or I should get if I'm going to do crepes, I should have a proper crepe pan. I don't know. I really like the way it looks. And this one has a kind of a grippy silicone insert in the handle, which I really like for handling it, that the other ones didn't have. It's surprisingly heavy for a non-stick. Okay, what else can I do ahead? Got my veg here, which, you know, I just threw some onions on the laptop because it must be hungry. I guess I could gut the pumpkin, but I still don't have a good bowl for putting guts in. You know what? Let me think about my order of operations. I'm going to render that out. I'm going to put the bacon aside. Then I'm going to work on the sloppy joes in some of that rendered fat. Okay, you're getting rid of this. Vegetables by putting them in. Let's see if I can cut this with the scissors. Ooh, it's working. I hope that's not a bad sign that this pumpkin is fuller than it should be. But let's get started on pumpkin gutting. Actually, I'm not gonna do this like on an angle, like you would so much for if you were carving it a jack-o'-lantern, but I'm gonna go ahead and slice the entire top off. Oops. Not as evenly as I'd like, but you know. Because when I put the stuffing in, I'm going to be putting the lid back on. I'm going to put it in a Dutch oven. You can, excuse me, do it on like parchment or foil on a cookie sheet, and then carefully after it's done, move it. Oh, I should mute my mic, right? Move it onto a platter to serve your guests or whatever, I'm not going to be as concerned with it being pretty because I'm the only one in the house who's going to eat it. So for me, I can just scoop it up out of my Dutch oven if I can't get the whole pumpkin out at once. I mean, I'll try to get the whole pumpkin out at once because in the past, part of what I've done is I've cut it into wedges and frozen it in portions that way. Now, I don't know if you noticed, I was using my ice cream scoop again to clear this out, like I did with the butternut squash before. And it's taking a little more of the flesh than I want. I think this overripeness is contributing to that. But that's okay, because if it's that stringy, it's not going to eat well. Got it. Cleaning out the pumpkin. I can see in here better. You don't have to be too terribly careful. Some of these strings and stuff will be fine because it's going to cook for 2 hours after it's stuffed. And a lot of that will disintegrate, and then you're going to eat it with its delicious stuffing. Okie dokie. So for now, I'm going to put that aside. That's just some prep work. Should I prep a little garlic? Oh, jeez. Look what I forgot. I should probably separate the pumpkin seeds because I want to roast those. I love eating them, and that's the only pumpkin we got this year was this one, unfortunately. I'm going to walk in the other room and ditch a few things over there. And you should be able to hear me talk, though, because I got a working lav mic. Testing 1, 2, because I'll be able to check it in the recording later. I may as well rinse some stuff. Now here's a note. You might want to consider gloves when you clean a pumpkin. I don't think it's going to stay that way, but my hand got orange. I don't think I've ever had that happen before. Okay, I'm going to move this stuff, my guts and stuff, into this other bowl because I have plans for this bowl to be for mixing the stuffing later. And kind of this bowl over there. This burner is being a little weird today. It keeps shutting off sooner than I want it to retain, to be rendering this down. Need it further rendered than that. Even though it's going to be treated a little more like ham in this pumpkin situation. I want it so that the fat is prepared to get melted rather than end up tough in the stuffed pumpkin. Let me see, what else? Let's turn that up some. I'll be doing that there. Garlic, where's my garlic? I'll prep some garlic. Ping. Oh, The good thing about the overhead camera, I'm like worried about the pumpkin being in your way, and it's not, because you're not right there, you're up there. I'm going to do several cloves of garlic right now, just because I'm going to put a little bit in my Sloppy Joes. Although this piece is really brown and sad. I'm not using that at all. But I want to put quite a decent amount in the stuffed pumpkin. So, yeah, it's just going to be a little in the Sloppy Joes, but that's never fear. The Sloppy Joe has Montreal steak seasoning in it, and that's got chunks of garlic, generally. As a matter of fact, I got a new brand of that, and I should check and make sure it has everything I want in it. I originally got my Sloppy Joe, homemade Sloppy Joe recipe that I started making at home from watching Rachel Ray, of all people. I know she's annoying, but it was a really good, quick recipe, and it's delicious, and it has worked every time. Okay, these garlics are starting to grow. I gotta pull the germ out. This little green germy bit will, where it's trying to sprout, will add a bitterness I don't want in this particular dish. It's not that big a deal, but oof, I need more garlic. Alexa, put garlic on the list. Thank you. I'm going to have to go to Compare for garlic. Compare Foods is like the Hispanic market down the street, and they have the best garlic of anyone in town. They tend to have that really, like, the kind of a lot of red, purpley veins in it. I don't know if it's because they actually buy Mexican garlic from Mexico, or if they get it from locals who are growing it, or what, but it tends to be fresher, lasts longer, bigger bulbs than any other freaking grocery stores in town. I'm just mincing this for, it's going to go in the pumpkin stuffing later. I'm not going to stay streaming until the pumpkin's done. Sorry. I'm still trying to keep these, manageable, short, informational, a little lesson, something you feel like you can do. And it takes like 2 hours to cook the pumpkin after it's stuffed. But I will, if you join my Discord, I did, if you're watching me on YouTube, I did put my Discord address in the description of the channel. If you're watching on Twitch, of course, you can look in the chat. There's a link to join the Discord. And I will post pictures of the finished pumpkin there. Hopefully I remember to, but that's my plan. That's a good amount of garlic. I love garlic. But I will, finish the Sloppy Joes here today and taste it while we're still here. And it's okay if it spoils my dinner, because like I said, we're having nachos. Those will have green onions, red bell peppers, shredded cheddar, and did I say green onion? And probably some goat cheese on them. We like to put goat cheese on our nachos. Rob started doing it. It's delicious. Okay, these are coming along real nice. That's really going to add something special, I feel like, to these Sloppy Joes. I'm going to cook them in this bacon fat. This will give a smokiness and a little sweetness, which is fine because there is brown sugar in the Sloppy Joe recipe, but the maple sugar I used in the bacon might come through and give it a little dimension. Because I feel like the chicken is going to be a little flatter than beef, no matter what you add. And this should do the trick to perk that up to be more interesting. Okay, I'm gonna bunch this bacon up together. Now that it's got some fat rendered, kind of help it along. When it's sizzling in its own fat, when I'm doing it on the stovetop, I often tilt the pan, and you're getting it kind of submerged in the fat that's already rendered, and that'll crisp up the little bits of bacon on the outside nicely. Okay, so that. I'm going to go ahead and open. I've got a can of tomato sauce here I'm going to use today for the sloppy joes. You can use a can of tomato sauce. You can use tomato paste is great. And then just a little bit of, water in it just to get it to where the texture you want. Tomato sauce kind of goes the other direction. You put the tomato sauce in and then you render it down toward what you want, or boil it down. It's a word I'm looking for. Reduce it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's see here. All right, you see that? Let's submerge that. Get those crisped up a little more. Yeah, it's definitely sticky. Kind of glad I'm using the non-sticks for this. It's letting me render my homemade bacon without scorching it. But yeah, I'll have the sloppy joe, and then I'll eat less of the nachos for dinner. So even with a little bacon fat in it, it's going to be healthier than the nachos that we're having later. Sizzle, sizzle. Getting there. Getting there. I don't want this fat to be white. Okay, and it's still tender. All right, I'm about to pull that out. I'm just thinking in order of operations. Hopefully I have everything here I need. Do I have everything here I need? I'm almost out of Worcestershire sauce. I need to get a new jar. I already put it on the list earlier today, right? With the, but I'm gonna get good stuff. Now that we have an income, I'll get some Liam Perrins. Worcester, what's this here sauce is something that really kind of does make a difference. Okay, dehydrated garlic spices, spiced extractives, and extractives of paprika. Thanks. Okay, this might be a problem. I have to check this out. This is the Badia brand. I really like most of their spices. I get them all the time. They're inexpensive. They're fresh. It's easier to find. Things like the coarser ground pepper I like. And a lot of Hispanic spices and whatever. But I'm looking at this. It smells good. Ooh, smells good and peppery. I'm going to make sure it has dill. It's got tiny seeds. It is dill. Okay. People don't realize, and like on these containers, a lot of times it doesn't say what's in these spice blends. And a key thing I find in steak seasoning, and this says Canadian blend instead of, Montreal for some reason, is dill. I think a lot of people are surprised that that's what's in there. And it really makes a difference to not have it. All right. I'm going to put the bacon in the cauldron. And yes, a slotted spoon would be a more efficient way to do this, but I don't want to run and get that right now. So I'm looking at these drippings. You see? So that's a good 3 tablespoons, and I don't want quite that much. So I'm going to pull a little of those drippings out. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them just in with the bacon, because I can always pour more in if I need it. So now it's just kind of swirling around the bottom good. If I feel I do need more fat back, I'll add it. So here goes our ground chicken. This is Greenwise. It's an all-natural ground chicken. I think Publix is the only place I've ever seen this, so it must be where whoever donated it got it. Uh-oh, paper. No one wants to eat the paper. And let's brown this up. Turn it up, because I do want to get nice and brown. And I'm going to add spices now, because it'll give them a chance to hydrate. And it's about 2 tablespoons of, you can always add more, but not less. And this has salt. This is the salt component. But yeah, this will give the spices a chance to, want toast it a little bit, we'll toast. And I can use the meat juice to hydrate the spices and bring their flavor out without compromising and ending up, like I'm not going to put any of these liquids in yet that I have, because those can keep it from browning. We do not want to do that. Yes, uplifting up the pan. I'm excited. I hope this turns out as good as I'm used to it turning out. And I want to thank Hando while I'm here. I noticed you resubscribed. It's like 2 months in a row. I appreciate that so much. You have no idea. And also, we're really close. I think 9 away from 200 followers. So if y'all want to spread the word, and if I get some more followers, I think at 200 I'll do another cookbook giveaway. Why not? Right? Let's do the thing. So, I don't want to multitask too much and throw anybody off, but let's go ahead and start cutting up this bread, I think. Or would you rather know what else is going to go in this? Okay, I have the Montreal steak seasoning, okay. It's going to get some, what's this here sauce? The tomato sauce is right there. Brown sugar. And at the end, I'm going to throw in some red wine vinegar. It is another surprise, necessary little bit of getting the balances of flavors in the Sloppy Joe. And I'll tell you what though, I'll never buy a can of Sloppy Joe stuff ever again. I almost always have all these things in my house. I think red pepper might be the most likely candidate for not always having in the house, but often enough, and it's certainly worth grabbing when you have everything else. And this is great lunch. It's all in one pan. It's a quick and expensive meal. And pray for me that I don't hate it with chicken. I can't see that happening. Chicken is pretty neutral. And I'm starting to think I might want to go ahead and put the sugar in soon, because the chicken is just kind of cooking. It does have enough natural juice in it, even if not fat, that it's kind of keeping it from caramelizing in a way that I want it to. So as soon as it's getting a little toward done and not giving up, and this, chicken juice evaporates, I think I'm going to go ahead and you could do the same thing when you do it with beef. I add, or venison or buffalo or whatever, put the sugar in to get the browning accelerated. Caramelization. Oh, did I tell you this handles Bakelite? Like, it looks like wood, but I was really surprised. I was actually reading what the pan was made of. I don't have an induction oven or stove, but I'm curious. And I might get an induction burner for the stream at some point, so I want to make sure it was compatible. Yeah. I am, before I put these veggies in, going to go ahead and add my brown sugar to try and get some more browning in this meat. And just like the, we need a little more, Montreal steak seasoning, about 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. I mean, you know sloppy joes are sweet, right? They always got some sweetness. If you don't have any brown sugar, use regular sugar and a little molasses. Although I feel like if you don't have brown sugar in the house, you probably don't have any molasses. Never know. Maybe you just ran out. We run out of brown sugar more than I'd like because my son likes to make cookies and forget to put it on the grocery list. So I have definitely had to add molasses. Because molasses kind of tends to last a long time in the cupboard. Until this time of year, I'll probably be making ginger snaps. Yeah, I should probably talk about it later in the week. I don't have hard plans yet. I'm still waiting on some stuff from my wish list before I start on the Delicious in Dungeon cookbook project. I do have most of what I need to do the first recipe test experiment with that. I have not heard from Carter Johnson yet about the art, so I'm a little bummed, but I know she's very, very busy right now. I have a cookie exchange on Sunday with some friends. Well, not a cookie exchange. We're actually getting together and baking cookies. So I gotta decide which cookie I'm baking for that. So I think it's Tuesday now. Sometime now through Saturday, I'll make ginger snaps. My son may be helping me because he's not happy with the way his has been turning out. So he thinks he's doing something wrong, but it's the same recipe I always use. So I don't know. He may or may not help me. If he doesn't, he'll have the video at least to correct his the problems he's having. And then probably Saturday, because I do kind of want to, do it as late as possible. I'm going to make cranberry curd tart. because I'm going to take it with me Sunday to my friend's house when we all bake cookies. My friend Lori hosts our little crafting days, and although I would totally bring food, she tends to make, like whatever food, soup, charcuterie that's enough to feed everyone. And I brought a rhubarb crisp for dessert, and that went over well last time. A couple minutes and stop touching it so it browns. And then I'll be able to add veggies, and that'll do glaze. So I'm going to make this cranberry curd tart, which I've made in the past. It was delicious. I'm going to do a graham cracker crust this time. And I'll take the cranberry curd tart with me to my friend's house. It's so good. I'm listening. As you learn to cook, if you don't already know how, I know some of you do, there are really key things about the smell of something and the sound of something at different stages of cooking that you really get the hang of. Like, you ever like have something in the oven and it comes a point where like you just smell that it's done? Takes a lot of practice, I guess. But there are definitely a few things. Still maybe a little juicier than I would want it. But we also don't want the chicken to end up being completely dried out. So here's another, probably about 2 tablespoons. I'll have 2 tablespoon measures in this. I want to smell that. Yep, that smells right. I don't think this being chicken is going to matter almost at all. Let's get our veg in here. I think a small onion is the normal for a pound. I put in, what I had. I put in maybe 2/3 of a pepper and 2/3 of an onion that I had left over in the fridge. And we'll let these get a little tender and let the onion, of course, and the pepper share a little of their flavor with the meat itself before adding the tomato sauce to make an actual sauce out of it. And of course get a little more tender. I mean, most of that's going to happen in the simmering, but not all of it. Layer your flavors. So while that's working, I'm going to start cutting up this bread for the stuffing that's going to go in the pumpkin. Just 2 leftover hot dog rolls. I think it calls for like a 1/4 pound of bread. I don't know. I'm looking at this pumpkin and figuring what I have here is probably going to be the right amount of bread. If I don't feel like it is, I'll throw in, and this is already kind of stale, so you know. If it wasn't stale bread you were starting with, go ahead and just leave it out for a couple hours or the day, or you could throw it in the oven and toast it. We went through that with the white bread that we made in the stuffing for Turkey Day. So you leave it out a little while, or you can toast it. I've got leftover stuffing mix from the store, but I think this will be plenty, that I could also throw in this. I don't know why my bot is not giving you guys any information, but that's okay. Please like and subscribe. If you're on Twitch, send me bits. Bits are good. Bits are good, subs are good. Man, it would be amazing to one day start making money. I'm a little confused. I'm going to write to Twitch, or if somebody here knows, write to me and explain to me why they're playing ads on my channel and I'm getting no revenue from that at all. If having to reach a certain status, I mean, I'm an affiliate, not a partner, but still, I'll shut the damn things off. It is striking me as rude to get these updates that say, oh, that's going to be plenty of bread. Here's how your stream went. Oh, you're doing so great. And oh, look, you got more people and you're in this percentage and it's growing and zero income from this stream. What? What? I mean, with the subs, I've understood because I've gotten money from subs way, way long ago when I was doing Geek Grills on this channel. Or on its own, I don't know, somewhere. I got payments from Twitch before, and it has to get up to, I think, $50 before they dole it out. But this recent stream summary stuff, like they're running ads and they say zero income this stream, and I think it's kind of cool. So here's our stale bread. And I'm gonna, I guess I'll wait to add stuff to it so we don't confuse what we're putting in there and what we're putting in the sloppy joe, right? Alright, I'm gonna pour the tomato sauce in. Just whole can. Hope that's not too loud. Yeah, it's pretty loud. Well, I put my new pan to the test. No, you don't need to put any kind of thickener in this. Let it reduce, and the amount of sugar that's in there, it's not a lot, but between the reduction and that little bit of sugar, it should thicken up. I'm gonna get rid of this can and this trash. I'm gonna go grab a spoon so I can taste it to see if I want to adjust my seasonings at all. Oh, I forgot. I can talk while I'm in here now, and you're going to be able to hear me because of my lav, right? Right? Yeah? Okay. Sorry, I'm peeking from the other room, like staying far away, but seeing if I can see the voice meter. Make sure the lab's working. I'm excited. I'm going to be scooping this is a mess a little bit. Okay, give this a taste. And put a pepper on there, onion, make sure I'm getting all the components so I know it's going to taste like once it's cooked down. You do need to turn it down a little bit. Well, don't cheap out on the Worcester. That would help with it being chicken. I think it could use a little more sugar. The Montreal seasoning is the right amount. It's really good. The pepper's coming through. The dill's coming through. I just put like another teaspoon. I know that looked like a tablespoon, but it was only a third of it, which is a teaspoon. Okay. Now the reason I sweeten this up, the sugar before was kind of only doing a balancing act with the other flavors, and I wanted to go a little towards sweet. Because I'm going to put this red wine vinegar in here at the end. And it giving sweet and sour really makes this dish pop. Okay. I'd be curious to get a nutritional analysis. Because I did use maybe a tablespoon and a half of bacon fat, but I would hesitate to make this, and I feel like I could skip that. I would at least try it with olive oil or a heart healthier oil, and chicken again, to reduce the calories and fat. And I don't think it would hurt it. I can't tell, I mean, obviously, without doing it, without it, what exactly the bacon drippings added, but it's probably less fat than the meat would have had anyway. Yeah, I think I will maybe try to develop ground chicken or ground turkey. This isn't a 2 tablespoon measure, by the way. Probably like 2 teaspoons. But again, it's a 2 taste. Yeah, I might make this with leaner meats, or even TVP, or I made it with Impossible, and I wasn't crazy about that, strangely. I expected, I mean, it was fine, but I expected it to perform way better than it did. This is performing much better than the Impossible Burger did. I did that before I started the cooking stream. Okay, I want to bring that up to simmering. Oh, exciting. I guess I don't have to. Well, I do because I want to stop messing with it before I move on. That's really good. The only thing I feel like might be lacking is I'd like it a little more tomatoey. Now you can accomplish that a couple of ways. This is gonna simmer down, reduce a little bit, and that'll give it some of that. You can put a splort of ketchup in it, because ketchup, after all, is tomatoes and vinegar and sugar, pretty much, and salt. Yeah. Squirt of mustard also can do, it changes the character of this. But that's not a bad thing to do. Alright. Let's turn this down. I'm going to let this simmer while I move on to stuffing this pumpkin. Turn the oven on to 350. Can I talk about a product I bought that I'm not sponsored by? I'm so excited. I haven't tried it yet. You guys, if you use TikTok, if you've seen Dave's Sweet Tooth, they make toffee and they're like punk asses about you can buy rocks, like, so you can tell your local politician is sucking to go kick rocks, and they'll send them like a thing of rocks, and it came in this beautiful, I get like a holiday sampler pack. It came in this beautiful freaking box, but we want to try it before I'm going to be giving gifts of it. I figured I'd put it in stockings, but again, we want to try them first. The reviews are good, but I don't trust reviews entirely. I'll let you guys know if it's actually as good as it's purported to be. But I was farting around here getting the stuff out to do today's stream, and I found this sticker like just laying on my cutting board. I'm assuming it came out of that box. Like, they also literally sell t-shirts that what do they say? Fresh, delicious toffee. If you know, you know. Okay, let's stuff a pumpkin. Oh, I should have got help. I should have brought I didn't bring the cream. Half and half. That's okay. All right. Bunch of garlic. Put it right in the bread. Fresh thyme. I cut this today. Oop. And everything here is to taste. Except the volume. Some things are to volume, like you want the pumpkin to be stuffed. So I'm going to put a bunch of this fresh thyme in. And then I'm going to chop up some chives and put them in. I thought about using green onion, but if I were putting like sausage, which I have done before, other vegetables and stuff in, I might do that, but I'm going to keep it relatively simple this time. This is actually just the ingredients that are in a pretty basic version I found online. Can't remember which one, like I said, but if you join my Discord, I will be posting the base recipe there later today, sometime after I'm done. Let me stir this, make sure it's not. Yep, still needs to reduce. Not sticking at all on my new pretty pan. Although, maybe I should have used my cast iron and gotten some good fond off of that chicken to deepen the flavor. I'm going to be putting what it might seem like a lot of fresh thyme in. For those of you that don't regularly use dry herbs, and this is something, I'm filling this with liquid and stuff, you can totally use dried herbs for this. When you use dried herbs, you actually use less than fresh, because when they're dehydrated, if they're dehydrated properly anyway, they concentrate. If they're not dehydrated properly, all the oils disappear, and then you have to use more, but that's another problem. That's not having to do with how you actually should be able to use fresh versus dry. More fresh than dry. Okay, I think that might be enough. It is only a little pumpkin, and I don't want to completely overwhelm everything. The cheese I'm using a Swiss cheese, which is a decently strong flavor, so it should hold up to the herbs. Get the dead pieces out. Where did my scissors go? There we go. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to skip chopping these and use my scissors. That'll be a lovely, oniony, not too strong oniony flavor. Complement the garlic and help it look pretty. Boop. Alright, I think that's enough of that. Let's kind of toss it around and see what it looks like. All the herbs want to go to the bottom. That's okay. That'll be rectified when it's wet. Salt and pepper. I'm going to go get those. Let's not neglect those this time. Gonna use some of my smoked salt. 7. Let's go with 9 little grinds. It's a pretty fine grind. This is again all to taste. Sorry if you don't know and you have to guess. Although once we put the liquid in, you can physically taste this. It doesn't have anything dangerous in it. I don't want to go too salty though, because the Swiss cheese has some salt, and the bacon we're going to put back in there has some salt. How much cheese? Let's take a look. This is 8 ounces, I think. Yeah, I think the whole thing. And minus a slice that I'm going to eat because it smells good. And I haven't eaten yet. You can use different kinds of cheese with this. I've used Gouda. I used smoked Gouda, sage, and sausage one year. Get this stuff out of my way. Can I get a mess? It's okay. That's what we do in the kitchen, right? Because I'm in my dining room. But close enough. I'm doing kitchen-y things. Ad starts in 4 minutes, 37 seconds. Cool. That's plenty of time. I'll be able to, hopefully in that time, get this mixed up and stuffed and in a pot, and then start to feed my face before we come back. I guess we'll see. New Year's Eve, I'm going to be streaming with the Diamond Club folks. Willie Scottus is organizing again this year. We're going to do an extra live stream, raise money for children's hospitals. I know I'm doing at least one slot with Part-Time Adventurers, our Wildermyth game that we normally play on Wednesday nights, but that Wednesday will be for charity. So please look out for that. I'm going to try to co-stream it. I'm going to try to co-stream my regular Wednesday night thing here this week. My oven's preheated. To see if I can make it work so that I can also do that on New Year's. If not, it may be at Cyrenex's channel. But regardless, I'll keep you all posted. If you join my Discord, I try to keep things up to date in there. Just up a little. And 3 minutes, 6 seconds. Okay. Let's put the bacon in. Ooh. I'm pulling it out. Remember, I dumped that extra oil in there. We don't really need that. Not a whole lot, though. I'll keep that to cook something else in. And it's our half and half. And I'm going to mix that with a spatula. So we're going to get everything nice and even, and then we're going to shove it in that pumpkin. Oh my goodness. Look how pretty it is. Just want to make sure the bread, none of the bread is dry. Again, there will be proportions in the recipe that make some sense, but you can't get too picky about it with the measuring your bread and your cream and everything, because the pumpkin isn't going to be an exact uniform size. These are estimates. So, you want to get these in there that's not quite soaked through the bread. So it needs a little more cream. You don't want it to turn into just a big ball of dough. But you want those fairly saturated. How'd that get in there? I think a good way to tell is moving it aside, and just a little is collecting in the bowl. You don't want any more collecting in the bottom than that. You do want a little bit because you need the cheese to have something to melt into. I'm stirring. Look again. See, it soaked it up. There's just that little bit if you squish it. So that looks to be exactly, I feel, the right consistency for this stuffing. Stuff a pumpkin. About to get messy up in here. Because I'm going to use my hand. I can't think of a better tool for this. Oh my gosh. This is going to be like a perfect freaking amount. 14 seconds to ads. There we go. Oh. Dude. Oh, sometimes it's so awesome to like have an eye for things and make such a perfect guess. Okay. Well, I guess when the ad plays, I will get rid of some of this stuff. And because I don't want to show anything, any instructions, while people are having to miss it for an ad. Do. There we go. Smells good in here. If I had to guess, I'd say that was about a cup of cream, maybe a cup and a half. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay. Here we go, folks. Ugh. Ad break ended. Alright, I'm going to put this in here. You know what? I don't want to risk it sticking. I'm going to spray this. Could cut out parchment paper, but that's too much trouble. Alright. Put this pretty pumpkin in here. Like I said, I'll share pictures way after it's done. In the meantime, this is going to go in the oven. Nope, not covered. It's got its lid right here. For about 2 hours. I'm going to check it at an hour and a half. At which point I'll like slide this over and poke and see if the pumpkin itself is done. And when it's getting close to it, I'll probably take it off for the last 10 minutes to let some of the liquid evaporate and the top brown. But that's that for now. Okay. 2 hours. I'll set it for an hour and a half. Right, that's what I said. Ooh, I maybe should have moved that down. That's okay. 50, 60. Whoops. Try again. Timer. 10, 20, 30, 40. There. Hour 30. Before I check on it. Alright. Yes, that's boiling too hot. Alright, so everyone see this? It's nice and thick. Reduced. So it's, you know, sloppy, but not. Not soupy sloppy anymore. And this is going to be awesome. I'm going to take it off the heat because, you know, electric burners doing their stuff. I'm excited. This worked out. Better than I expected. I had some fear, but I did it online anyway. Why not? A chance of failure is what people come to the internet for, right? But I did not fail. It's freaking good. Definitely a reasonable substitute for beef. I still say I prefer just going ahead and using a red meat with this, but sometimes you got what you got, and sometimes you can't have red meat. Gosh, I mean, what if you got alpha-gal, right? Eek. I'm going to save this big chive for making pumpkin pictures later. Should probably go get a new fancy sprig of thyme for that too. I love having an herb garden. Even in the winter. It's doing me some good. Alright. Let's dig into our chicken Sloppy Joe. Sloppy Joe. See? Sloppy. Falling down. I thought about putting it in a tortilla. I'm not that interested. You know what, the dill that you've had in your Montreal steak season, never knew it was there, really stands out with the chicken. I think more than it does with the beef. Interesting. So this is several Sloppy Joes. It's another thing because it has sauciness that no one else that lives in my house anymore will eat. So I'll probably eat this for lunch every day for a couple of days. I have like one sweet potato I need to use up, so I'll probably make sweet potato fries to have with it tomorrow. And yeah. So I guess that's time, folks. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you make your own Sloppy Joes. I am telling you, you'll never go back. And you can fine tune it. You never need to get the can of goop again. And it's not more. You can get, like, for 50, 60 cents, the little can of tomato sauce. And look for the peppers on sale. I have a coupon from Food Lion to get 3 multicolored red peppers for free this week. So, you know, and hopefully you've got onions in the house. I mean, have it in your house for steak, just throwing out a steak to grill. These are all things I would recommend you have in your house. So, let me know how you did, if you tried it, if you're going to try it. If you want to see more copycat recipes, for lack of a better term. And, yeah, have a blessed day. I'll see you later in the week for cranberry curd tart and ginger snaps. Not necessarily in that order. I look forward to cooking with you soon.